There are many examples of how technology plays a major role in producing the foods we enjoy every day. And ensuring the quality of our food is a huge part of that. So we found a farm in Western Idaho where quality control begins when the produce comes right out of the field. Would you believe that the next time you buy a bag of onions at the grocery store, you could track the onions back to the exact field and farmer that grew them? Well, you can, if there's a traceproduce.com label on them. Millions of Idaho and Oregon onions, fresh from the fields, are on the move to grocery stores nationwide. And every step of the way, their journey will be tracked thanks to a traceability program created at Fort Boise Produce here in Parma, Idaho. Just find the code on the Trace Produce label and the story of your bag of onions unfolds.
So then with the code on the back of the package, we can type that in at the website. Anybody who buys these onions could do this. And what we'll pull up is all kinds of detailed information about those onions. So as you can see here, we'll have a Google map of the actual field that those onions came from. We also have a video of the grower and growing operation where the growers can talk about their operation, the farming operation, and how they grew the onions. And then we also have a shipper video here, which is actually our packing operation, which shows how these onions were packaged and put in their final packaging for the consumer to see.
In this era of increased focus on food safety, tracing one's food is becoming increasingly important for consumers. Each lot of onions is labeled and loaded in the field into a truck bound for the packaging plant. Once inside, the onions are inspected, sampled, and even recorded on video for potential buyers to watch on the traceability website.
After the Bioterrorism Act of 2001, which involved food safety, everybody has to do one step forward and one step backward on traceability. So a lot of growers and shippers have implemented traceability in their systems, but they haven't taken it to the consumer level.
Joe Farmer created the traceproduce.com program. Now he's opened it up for other growers and packers to use nationwide. The Farmer family has deep roots in innovation. Joe's grandfather, Warren, was a row crop farmer. He invented a self-propelled beet harvester, seen here from the 1950s.
I like this Fort Boise brand.
Today, Warren's two sons are the leaders at Fort Boise Produce and say their father would be proud that his pioneering spirit lives on.
He'd be amazed. I mean, he operated with a 10-key adding machine, you know, was the closest he got to automated accounting. So, yeah, he'd be blown away by the technology alone, and I'm sure he'd be proud of what we've developed.
More than 1,000,000 50-pound bags of onions will pass through the plant, 2,200 bags an hour, and each one can be traced back to its roots.
There's always new mandates coming down the line. People are waiting to hear from the FDA and if more mandates are going to come. It's adding cost to the growers and shippers, but there's no getting around it. You got to do it. It's what's expected now, and it's just required of growers and shippers to be able to have that traceability.
Heaven forbid, you know, there was any problem, and onions, of course, are a very safe product. But if there were a problem, you know, it'd be very easy to recall the onions, and it just adds to the safety of our product, I believe.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. I don't think my great-granddad, you know, out on the sheep ranch would have thought that, you know, a consumer back in New York might be able to see where the farm and grower that farm their onions on a little computer device. So yeah, it's pretty amazing.